with college prospects now banned from visiting NFL teams due to the coronavirus pandemic, and with doctors being unable to examine players on those trips, Tua Tagovailoa will remain the draft's top medical mystery, with teams being unable to get the look at him that they wanted. And here he comes, the one, the only. Stephen A. Smith is with us live here again, 7 minutes away from First Take. But, Steve, we all understand how this stuff works. These general managers are essentially betting their jobs on some of these decisions. Would you be willing to stake your career on Tua Tagovailoa, sort of sight unseen, high in this draft?
Well, my answer for most of the teams would be hell no. I'm not doing that. I need to make sure that, you're physically fit. The reality is that we know what a great player that he was. He was completing about 71% of his passes, had about 33 touchdowns, just 3 interceptions before he got hurt. The year before that, it was 43 touchdowns and just 6 interceptions on the season. He's an elite quarterback, but I definitely need to check his health because durability on the collegiate level was a problem for him. So certainly it would be a problem for him on the pros, one would presume. The flip side to that, however, it also depends on the level of desperation that you're feeling, particularly if you're working for an organization that hasn't been winning, but they give you the latitude to take such a risk. If I'm the Miami Dolphins at number 5, certainly I can do that. Why? Because I've got an 18th pick. I have no quarterback to speak of for the foreseeable future. And as a result, it might be worth the risk considering the level of struggles that you've had in recent memory. The Chargers weren't able to get Tom Brady. They've got the 6th pick. I would take that into consideration. I'd also take it into strong consideration if I'm the San Francisco 49ers at number 13, because there are questions about Garoppolo, whether or not he's a game manager or a guy that you can really rely upon. But considering everything else that they have at their disposal, an elite defense, weapons at the wideout spot. Don't get me started with George Kittle, who's battling Travis Kelce for the best tight end in the game. And you look at their running backs as well. And so you have everything that you need in San Francisco. You can afford to take those risks. Those are the 3 situations where I might consider an exception. But by and large, from a generic perspective, am I taking the chance on somebody that I haven't seen with a high first-round pick when the only question about him is his durability? And I can't look at his health? Nah, I'm not going to do that.
I think you bring up a really important point. We've been talking about Tua going 2 or 3 or 4. These circumstances may cause him to fall far further than we expected. And because, Stephen A., it's not just your ability to see where he is relative to this last hip. Just the history of injury alone, all of the surgeries and all of the injuries, how much would that frighten you off regardless of these circumstances?
Of course it's going to frighten you off to some degree, because if you have durability issues at the collegiate level, to regurgitate my point, then what's it going to be like when you're going up against grown men in the National Football League that have mortgages to pay and families to feed? It's just an elevated level of concern because of the violence that exists in the National Football League compared to any other level when it comes to football. You have to take that into consideration. If your durability is a question mark on the collegiate level, just like if your skill set was a question mark on the collegiate level, it's going to be an even bigger question mark on the pro level. And I think the same concerns are equated with his physical health. He's still big time. I believe in his skill set, no doubt. If he was healthy, I would like him ahead of Joe Burrows, to be quite honest with you, as the number 1 quarterback taken, number 1 overall. But because his durability is such a question mark, I can't just ignore not seeing him physically and then spend a top 4 pick on him. If I'm the Miami Dolphins, I could do it at 5. If I'm the Chargers, I could do it at 6. If I'm San Francisco, I could do it at 13. That's about it.
Thank you for watching ESPN on YouTube. For live streaming sports and premium content, subscribe to ESPN+.